Hi there, Henry from 911virgin, the Porsche people in Uxbridge. Welcome to another video. You join us on the windy wash bay, so forgive if there's a bit of wind noise coming through, and also you will notice I'm joined by someone. I have Peter from our valeting team. Yes, he doesn't normally get out, we normally keep him locked away, but we've allowed him out in front of the camera. We're making a slightly different video now. We're going to do a video showing our valeting processes on a car, and specifically ceramic coating. Ceramic coating is something which is quite a clever product. We want to show you what's involved in applying the ceramic coating, what work essentially we have to do to make the car good enough to take a ceramic coating, and then also just discuss what ceramic coatings will and won't do. So yeah, hope you enjoy it, and also if nothing else it'll give you some pointers into how you might think about cleaning your own car and maintaining it and so on and so forth. So yeah, enjoy the video.
The first thing we need to do is to give the car a good clean. Now the idea of cleaning the car is not to scratch the surface of the car. So the first stage in the cleaning process is to apply snow foam. And this acts as a detergent and it clings to the surface of the car, clings to any dirt. And the idea being it'll soften it, it'll loosen it, and then you can pressure wash it off. To help this process, you'll see Peter agitating the dirt in the nooks and crannies with a very, very soft brush. This just helps loosen it off. The snow foam is designed to cling to the surface of the car and is left for about 10 minutes or so to soak in and do its job. Once the snow foam's had time to work, the car's thoroughly rinsed off. The aim of this process is to remove any hard contaminants from the surface of the car, because the next thing we're going to do is wash it in the traditional way, but we don't want to have any grit present on the car which would damage the vehicle's paintwork. You'll see 3 buckets are used for the main washing process. The first one contains brushes and various tools for crevices and wheel arches. The middle bucket is the wash mitt with the detergent, and the last bucket is clean fresh water. And this is used to constantly clean the washing mitt during the cleaning process. You'll also see that there's a gauze or a grate in the bottom of each bucket, and that allows any solids that are present to drop to the bottom so it doesn't contaminate the wash mitt. Once the car's been washed, it's thoroughly rinsed down again. There are 2 final stages to the wash process, the first of which is a glue and tar remover spray. This dissolves glue and tar. The second process is designed to remove metal fragments or filings which may have come particularly from brake components and have burnt their way into the paintwork. It's important to get rid of these prior to the polishing process. You'll notice that the liquid turns purple when it comes into contact with metal contaminants. The final rinse off is with water that's passed through a 151 resin filter. This is designed to stop water spotting, particularly on warm summer's days. The car can now be dried off and moved inside.
Right, so we've finished off outside and we've brought the car back inside now. So we've washed it, and on the face of it made quite a nice clean shiny car. But if we're going to put a ceramic coating onto the car, we would be sealing in the paintwork, and so we'd also be sealing in any defects in the paintwork. And whilst, if you like, to the untrained eye or at first glance this now looks a lovely shiny car, when you look at it carefully you will see there are some paint imperfections. And there's 2 things that we're going to find on this car. The first is general hazing, and that's caused by when people use rags to polish a car with, or they wash a car and have a sponge and get kind of light scratch marks. Over a period of time those build up and give you a general hazing. The other thing that we're going to find on this are swirl marks, and those are caused where someone's polished a car using a rotary polisher and they've left swirl marks, and you see those a lot when the sun shines and you look down the side of a car, you can see the swirl marks in it.
Let's take a look now then at the paint correction process, and this really is what takes all the time. The first thing we do is we clay bar down the car. We lubricate the surface of the paintwork and rub it with a clay bar designed to remove tree sap and other imperfections which have bonded onto the paint surface. Now we go round the vehicle with a paint thickness meter and determine the thickness of paint on all the various panels of the car. Using this information in conjunction with the marks that we see on the vehicle allows us to determine the best course of action moving forwards. Too abrasive a cut and you remove too much of the clear lacquer, the top coat on the paint surface. Too fine a cut and you don't remove the scratches and marks. This is where skill, expertise and patience comes in. The aggression of the cut is controlled by two things: the actual polish that's used and then the pad that's used to apply the polish. Before the polishing process can begin, vulnerable areas of the vehicle have to be masked up. These include trim parts and also any high spots which might get burnt out if the polishing pad catches them and it burns through the paintwork. Depending on what marks need to be removed from the paint, correction is either a 1 or a 2-stage process. A single stage probably takes between 4 and 7 hours. A 2-stage polish can take up to 20 hours dependent on the level of marks on the vehicle. The technician constantly evaluates the bodywork during the correction process. Here you can see the equipment used. Different polishing heads give different degrees of cut, and the smaller heads are used for more intricate areas of the vehicle. At this stage it's worth considering exactly what a ceramic coating is and what it will or won't do on your vehicle. Essentially, it's a tough outer layer which bonds to the clear lacquer on the vehicle's paintwork. This gives it some degree of protection. If you imagine your paintwork as a pencil, it would typically be HB in hardness. Applying a ceramic coating increases this to maybe 2H in hardness. This makes it more resistant, particularly to the hazing type scratching when wiping over the vehicle's bodywork with a cloth. The ceramic coating also makes it harder for things to adhere to the surface of the paintwork. This makes cleaning your vehicle much easier.
The benefits to you as an owner are twofold. Firstly, it's going to increase your enjoyment of the car. Essentially, it's going to look cleaner longer, and it's also going to be easier to maintain, so you get more pleasure out of a nice shiny car. The other thing it's going to do is it's going to protect your investment, because the finish that you have when you collect the car from us is going to stay there for longer. When you come to dispose of the car at the end of your ownership, it'll be in better condition, and therefore it'll be worth more money. Ceramic coatings aren't a miracle cure. They're not going to stop stone chips. They're not going to prevent if someone decides to run the key down your car. It's still going to damage the paintwork, but they do offer protection. One of the first things people often say when they come and look at a car is wow, and I guess you're maintaining that wow factor for longer. You're keeping the car looking like the day you collected it from us for a longer period of time. So here you can see the results of the paint correction process. Remember, at this stage we haven't applied any products to the paint surface. This is just the paint correction, essentially the fine sanding of that top layer to remove any scratching and hazing. We've got the vehicle's paintwork in the best possible condition, and it's now ready to apply a ceramic coating. We need to remove the masking tape, and then we need to clean the surface of the car of any contaminants from the polishing process. We've got to get an absolutely perfectly clean surface onto which the ceramic coating can adhere. As well as carefully removing any dust particles or particles of polishing compound from the car, we're also going to wipe down the surface of the paint using an alcohol panel wipe. This is quite a lengthy process, and we've also got to make sure to get into all the crevices and nooks and crannies of the car, because you don't want to suddenly find as you're applying the ceramic coat you've got a contaminant that suddenly appears. It's worth having a quick chat now about exactly which coatings we're going to use. We've invested quite a lot of time up to this point correcting the paintwork on the car, making it look as good as possible, so it's important to choose the right ceramic coating and the right protective products. There's lots of different manufacturers out there, they all make their various claims. We've done our homework and we've gone with a company called Gtechniq. They've been around a long time and have very dependable products. This particular car is going to get two products. It's going to get Crystal Light, which is the ceramic coating, and then it's going to get Exo V4, which is a hydrophobic layer. This is the layer that causes water to bead on the surface of the car. The Crystal Light is applied using a specialist applicator pad that comes with the product. And it's important when you're applying it, you apply it sparingly, but you also make sure you cover the entire vehicle. You do it a small area at a time, making sure that the product is adhered well to the vehicle's paintwork. Once the product's had time to flash off, it's buffed using two separate microfiber cloths.
When looking at things like ceramic coatings, it's important to remember it's not just the product, but it's who and how the product is applied. This really is what makes the difference in most cases. All too often, garages see this as a profit-generating exercise and want to do as little work as possible to relieve you of your money. Unfortunately, it means that the end results are very much lacking. So this is Gtechniq's Crystal Light ceramic coating. The coating after that, the hydrophobic layer, is Exo V4, again from Gtechniq. Once again, this is carefully applied using a specialist applicator. It's important to cover all the car, and you do it again in small areas at a time. Once applied, you have to wait for a while before buffing with 2 separate microfiber cloths. Exo V4 actually requires 2 layers with a drying time between each layer for maximum performance. In terms of expected lifetime, the Crystal Light has an expected lifespan of around about 3 to 5 years on a vehicle. The Exo V4 has an expected lifetime of perhaps 12 to 24 months on a vehicle.
So there you go, you've seen the work that's involved in getting a car ready for a ceramic coating, and you can see what we've done. I say what we've done, it's actually what Peter's done, because I just look pretty and he does all the hard work, and I know I'm failing at that really. But we've put then sort of 2 products on this. So the actual ceramic coating itself, which puts a hardened surface on top of the clear lacquer, and that's going to prevent the paint from dulling down if you wipe over it with a cloth and so on, and you get that kind of micro scratching on there. It'll prevent that from happening. And then the Exo, which is a hydrophobic product, and that will cause the water to bead. And again, the Crystal Light from Gtechniq does actually, that's the ceramic coating, does actually stop things adhering to the paint surface and stop staining. The Exo is the hydrophobic element, and that causes the water to bead, and that in itself, particularly as you're driving along, will stop the water from settling on the car. It helps drive the water away. And what we'll show you now is Peter's special leaf blower that he's got. Will show the water running off the car and it's beading and so on. So what I'm going to do now is I'll wet the car as though we were driving along and it's a rainy day, and Peter, once I've wet the car, he'll put some air to blow the water off, and that's the same as when you're driving along in the car. Obviously if you're driving, it'll get blown that way, not this way, unless you go very quickly in reverse, but you know what I mean. So as you can see on there, the water is just beading up beautifully, and that's actually the Gtechniq Exo product. That's the hydrophobic product. And then if we get Peter to just put some air on that, you'll see how it just runs off really easily. So just to touch on the kind of life expectancy of these products. So the ceramic coating, the Crystal Light from Gtech, that has a life expectancy of probably between 3 and 5 years, dependent on how the car's stored, used, cleaned and looked after and so on. And then the Exo, again from Gtechniq, that's the hydrophobic coating. We would suggest that's got a life expectancy of probably between 12 and 24 months. And that can be reapplied on top of the ceramic coating if it needs topping up. But it's about 12 to 24 months, again, depending on how well you maintain it. But you know, the benefits are cleaning much easier, you're protecting your investment, and also you have a more pleasant ownership, because you essentially have a cleaner car and it's a shinier car whilst you're using it. So there you go. That's beautiful.
Nice, huh?
All of a sudden, cleaning your car is actually quite good fun. And Peter's got all the best toys. We need one of these. A flex leaf blower. It's not a leaf blower. What's it called? It is a leaf blower. Flex leaf blower for very small gardens or for valeting cars.